Well, hey. Welcome to the Shake Up with Dr. Kit. Looks like we're having some small technical difficulties here. Um, we might have to take a moment and make sure that everything is going well. You know how technology is, it's never really that great. So don't go away. Don't go anywhere. We're going to make sure we get this show on the road. Okay. Are we having some camera issues here on my end? Uh, so, uh, okay. Hmm. Just give me an opportunity here a second. All right. Hmm. Okay. I've lost my camera. Just hold on. Just hold on. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. All right. Let me call my technician here a second because I can't even text my technician. Okay. All right. Let me do this. Okay. All right. Okay. We're good to go. All right. We'll be back on stream. Okay. It's not letting me enlarge it though. While we're having this session, just hold on for us while we take care of this technical difficulty here. Is that it? Is that good? That looks good. Well, listen, y'all. Thank you for just hanging in there with us. We've been having some technical difficulties. And this, of course, is Dr. Kid Shakes on Monday, Tuesday. Ooh, not Monday. Ooh, listen, I don't even know where I am. Coming out of this holiday weekend, it is 6 o'clock on Monday. We understand that right now. And I just want to welcome you to Dr. Kid Speaks. This is the Shake Up. This is all. Listen, we took some time off over the holidays, Christmas, and so on and so forth. But now we're back. We just had to refresh over that time frame, and took care of some personal stuff and family stuff and all that. So now we're back. And because we're running late, I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking. I just want to welcome you. You know what it is. We just want you to, if you'd like to be a part of the show, just get in touch with my staff, my crew, and email your information to drkidspeaks@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to get you on. Okay. And then the other thing that we'd like for you to do is to like, follow, share, and subscribe. Okay. This kind of give us some credibility, give us some insight, it give us some visibility out there. And we're so glad to know that you're with us this evening. Again, I just want to apologize for some technical difficulty. Listen, this evening we have a very interesting show. I got a good friend of mine. You probably see him and know who he is, but I won't give you too much. Won't give it away. That he's with me tonight, and we're going to have this kind of a unique show. It is a Dr. Martin Luther King holiday today, and so what I've done here is I just kind of went ahead and I just pulled up a couple pieces of information for you, and I needed to give this today, a title. I don't always give a title because when I have other people on show, they kind of run their title and they tell me what they want to talk about. So we kind of go with that. But because it is MLK Day today, I'm calling this, and I'm looking at various generations of movement where, there was movement away from being locked away socially to where there is freedom. Okay, and so the MLK Day in 1983, President Ronald Reagan signed a bill that created a federal holiday to honor Martin Luther King. The holiday first commemorated in 1986. This celebrated the third Monday on January, close to the civil rights leader 15th January 15th birthday. Now listen to this: George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Cesar Chavez are the only other American notaries to have a holiday, ascribed to them. Isn't that amazing? And Martin Luther King is one of them. Some stuff I found out that I really wasn't sure of. Matter of fact, I really didn't know that. His birth name is not Martin. I don't know how many of you knew that. His birthday, he was born Michael King Jr., January 15, 1929. And of course, he died in 1929. In 1934, look what happened. This is where the name change comes in. His father, a pastor at Atlanta Ebenezer Baptist Church, went and traveled to Germany, and became inspired by the Protestant reformer Martin Luther, a Protestant reformer. Because he was so enthralled by his work, he changed his name and then changed his son's name from Michael to Martin. So they both became Martin Luther after the European reformer Martin Luther, the great reformer. And so that's how he got that name, okay? And of course, he entered college and he, did all of that stuff. So I'm not going to hold on to much of that right now. Just want to give you a couple of pieces of historical information. Now, I titled this thing today, Moses, Martin, and Me. Now, the me in this here, Moses is a character in the Bible, of course. He's my favorite Bible character. So I just go ahead and just say that right now, you know. And Martin would be Martin Luther. But every person on the planet is a me, a singular designation that identifies a person. Some people say that I just choose to say me to keep it. Martin am, Moses am, me am. So M. This is the whole idea behind that this evening. So okay, how about that? Can you hear me? Oh man, these difficulties just don't seem to want to go away. But listen, thank you for just hanging in there with me. We've been having some technical difficulties, and I'm just hoping that we were able to to deal with that. I'm not sure how much you heard, but this evening I have a special guest with me, and I'm just go over this just in case. Okay, really quick. I have a special guest with me. He's a good friend of mine, and you will recognize him when you see him. And I'm just going to go back over here and say that I'm titling this tonight as Martin, Moses, Martin, and me, MMM. And the me just means me. So we have over 8 billion me's in this world. And so the work that Martin Luther King did has had profound global impact that, from the civil rights movement, it just impacted everybody. It just exploded. And so in 1983, President Ronald Reagan installed him as one of those that he would inaugurate a birthday after. Okay, so we're going to go right ahead into that right now. So Moses, so we're talking about a transitional point where people have been growing throughout life, and Moses was one of the first leaders that was called to do what? Emancipate slaves. Now, while Martin Luther King did not emancipate the slaves that were in the fields, what he did was he brought us to the point where we could emancipate ourselves, or he led in the emancipation movement of emancipating us in our minds, where we became slavery and stayed stuck over a long period of time. Now, one of the difference is major difference between Moses and Martin Luther King. God called Moses and said, listen, I want you to go down into Egypt to free my people, because the cries of my people have come up unto me. I need to send you down there to do what? Release my people from the bondage of Pharaoh. And he did that successfully. And Moses took his work so personal that on the way, when God was kind of upset with his people, he wanted to, just kind of take them out. And Moses said, no, God, if you're going to do anything like that, take me out, chastise me, but not the people, because I've grown so accustomed to having these people here with me. Yeah, they're stiff-necked and all that kind of stuff. And so we're looking at that as a similarities between Moses and Martin Luther King. So now Martin Luther King comes on the scene back in the 60s, in the 50s, as a matter of 50s and 60s. And he, while a part of the early civil rights movement, and what he wanted to do, and he did this successfully, was to release people from the bondage of emotional and mental slavery, And he paid a heavy price for this, because we can remember, I think it was 65 when they had the Selma to Alabama to Montgomery walk, and it was a 5-day trek, but he walked with these people right to the steps of the Capitol, marching for equality so that we would not be stuck. And so we find ourselves dealing with the importance of this. And this man, another Moses, a new Moses, a more recent Moses, took on the challenge of, I will release my people. Now, some of the things that are very similar, God took Moses up into the mountain. I believe it was Nebo. He took him up there, and he showed him the promised land. He showed him the promised land. And one of the things that that is so very similar to him and Moses and Martin Luther. Martin Luther King, in his famous speech, it says, he said, and this was done in Memphis, and he basically said, listen, I have a dream. He said, I've been to the mountain. I may not, and I've looked over the promised land. I may not get there with you. Okay, he said, I may not get there with you, but hold on in here. And he paid a price for that. Now, the price that he paid for that was not just a price for himself, There was a cost to him, of course. It was not just for him, but he did that so you and I could be listening like we are now. I could be talking to you, and you could be listening like you are right now. We could be participating in what just happens to be a part of the freedom movement that was started back then. As a matter of fact, it was started way back when slaves started to run away. We're talking about the benefits of Martin Luther King Jr.'s input into our lives today. And so now that I've made that kind of a correlation there, we're going to move forward and say, listen, all of this work that was done back then by Martin Luther King, where are we right now? How are we using this new generation, the Gen X and the Gen Zs and the millennials? How are they benefiting from this, from what we have done? How are things different? What are the current modern struggles that we have that was, that, and the reason we're struggling is because life is just like that. There is a continuum. Struggles are never going to go away. But the question is, how do we use the struggles to grow? So I'm going to bring on my special guest at this time. We're going to just talk this through for a little bit. And so my special guest, come on in. Here he is. He's right here. I told you I had a special guest. He's my friend, a good friend of mine. Hey, Mikey, how are you doing, man? How are you doing? You're muted. You're muted. We're having all kinds of problems this evening.
Oh, I'm doing all right. How about you, Dr. Kit?
I'm doing fine, man. Listen, I'm so glad that you decided to meet with us this evening, and so we can kind of just talk through a few things. Now, you understand, you was hearing what I was saying about the work that Moses did to free slaves, but those were a physically freeing of the slaves. What Martin Luther King did was he freed the slaves emotionally and also socially, because there was some bondage, because, people were going to jail. He went to jail 39 times, and that was a lot of times for one person to go to jail. And so some of the benefits of that on his day, where do you think we are now? Are we any better off now because of the work that he did? If we're not, then why? If we are, then why? Can we talk through that for a little bit?
Oh yeah, we could definitely talk through that. So on the contributions that MLK made to society are I mean, they're huge. I mean, I find that we are definitely, and I definitely didn't live back in that time period, early 40s, but just hearing the stories, I understand that the liberties that I have now, the freedoms that I have now, that they were fought for, and that there was a lot that went into that. Him, as well as others, leading the charge so that we, as Black Americans, could have freedoms and to be able to have the opportunity to go about and move about freely. Do I think that we are where he envisioned that we should be? I don't think that we are. I still think that there's a ways for us to go. But I do feel like we've made quite a few strides since he first came onto the scene. So yeah, definitely thankful for his contribution as well as the many others. We tend to, I know this is his day and he was pegged as the leader, but I know that there were several others, hundreds, thousands others that contributed to our freedoms. And so even on this day, while it might be his day, you know, I would definitely like to pay homage to those to them as well.
Yeah, you know, you're right. There are several others who have paved the way. They have laid down their blood, their sweat, and their tears that paved the way for Martin Luther King to be able to do what he did so that we can be where we are. Now, he had this nonviolence approach. He had this nonviolence approach to making change, to doing as a matter of fact, he was doing what we, you know, what I'm trying to do. He was creating a shakeup. Okay, he was creating a shakeup back then because you know, for somebody to go to prison, jail, you know, 29 times, and he still believed in what he was doing. He was not likely or going to give up on what he believed in. And so he was willing to pay the cost for that. So how important is it then for us to, if we want to succeed, for us to believe? And I'm not just talking some casual belief, because nobody's going to die for a casual belief. He said, I may not get there with you. Okay. He said, I've been to the mountaintop. I've looked over into the promised land. And he was envisioning when young black boys and little white girls, they'd be walking around together. We're not necessarily there right now, but how do we account then for, you know, the speed at which his vision is moving? Is it moving at the speed that we think it should, or is there a speed that it needs to move at?
I don't know necessarily what his speed, what he envisioned, where he envisioned that we'd be here in 2024. I don't know exactly what, but I do know that his ultimate vision is that we have equality across the board, you know, and that we have equal opportunities in business, in healthcare, walking down the street, you know, facing law enforcement. Like he just wanted to be equal across the board of it, and that we are treated, you know, as human beings. I've often seen things to where I made jokes I've seen in the past, you know, cruelty to animals sometimes will get you a stiffer sentence, you know, than cruelty to some of my brothers and sisters, you know. And so I don't know what speed that he envisioned or where he envisioned that we'd be here in 2024. But I feel as though, like, if we're continuing to make progress, you know, then we're continuing to not let down our ancestors and the progress that they made, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to make it better for the next generation. So regardless of the speed and where we find ourselves, we can't give up. You know, we have to each of us have a responsibility to continue to make those strides in our various corners, even if it can't be on an MLK type platform. We all have platforms now that we can definitely reach out on to be, whether it's in our smaller work community, whatever the case is, so that we can keep progressing in those areas.
So what do you think about the fact that no one called him to do this? He saw a need, and he decided that he was going to work on achieving the outcome of this need. All right. And that's exactly what he did. But he had a peaceful motif, a peaceful way of doing this. And even while he was going about this thing peacefully, he was chastised by many of the people who should be supporting him. How do you?
Well,
go ahead. Go on, man. Oh, I thought you were
okay.
saying
So I was
something.
going to say, Well, let me come back and ask you a question. You're saying that he wasn't called to this. I do know that I believe there was a meeting where they had some meetings and they said, "Hey, we want to make Martin our leader." But this is something that I feel like he was born for. Something that he was that why God put him on this earth. And so I would say, like, to you as well as to any of the people that are listening online, you know, I could reverse it on you. We might not be fighting the liberty fight right now, trying to, like, that might not always be our fight, but what is it that we are on this earth for, you know? And now that we have the freedoms, do you feel like you, Dr. Kidd, do you feel like you are doing what you're called for? Like, are you doing what you need to be doing to keep the ball rolling as far as the freedoms and stuff that you have today? Do you feel like you're doing what you need to be doing?
We'll get to that, but you know what I said was, you know, I'm not sure that Martin was Dr. King was called like that. Yeah, they had a meeting and they might have said, "Listen, we would like you to do this," because he was doing such great work and his work was very powerful at the time. So he was kind of elected, but he wasn't, say, kind of anointed from a top down position to say, "We want you to do this." You know, the people said that we want a leader. And because of the work that you're doing, we would like for you to be this leader for us. But even then, as I was doing some reading, everybody didn't want him to be the leader because some people did not like his non-violent approach. There were some people who wanted to go chop some heads off. You know, we do some damage to some folks, you know. So he was struggling with that. He really was, and I think you know. And I'm wondering to what degree then, you know, does this nonviolent approach, is it working today?
Well, I mean, it has to work. I mean, there's violence. I mean, in my opinion, I know that there was different opinions back then, but I think that violence, you know, it can only get you but so far, you know. And it can definitely have some adverse effects. So you entitled today, Martin, Moses, and me. Right. And so if you look at Moses, if you want to correlate that, Moses had difficulties. Everybody didn't want him to be the leaders. You know, those right. Hebrews, they even after leading them out of Egypt, headed to the promised land, you know, as they found difficulty along the way, they too found themselves complaining against God, against Moses. You know, you have us in this desert, whatever the case may be. And so any leader, they're going to find themselves that even if you're trying to do good, you're not always going to have 100% buy-in. But if you still feel like that is your purpose, that is your calling, that is what you're supposed to do, then you just have to put it in God's hands and continue to move in the direction that you feel like you're being led to move in. And if you're not doing that, then you're doing a disservice to God and you're doing a disservice to yourself, because now you're pretty much wasting your life and not operating in the manner in which God wants you to move. And so I feel like that correlation, you can't look for everybody to be on board with you, but you just have to continue to move in the way that you move. And that's why it's so tough sometimes to be a leader, because you have to make those hard decisions and you can't be people pleasing all the time. So,
right. You just can't. And so we find here that this man, you know, some of the great people, not just MLK, but, you know, Robert Kennedy and JFK, they lost their lives partly because they were fighting their own struggles too, to try to bring some sense of equality. Now, I'm not sure it doesn't necessarily mean that they were doing it the way that we necessarily wanted them to do it, but they were struggling to bring some sense of equality, you know, to humanity across the color spectrum. And so we find that. So I come back to you now. Yeah. And that is that leadership cost. It really does cost. Now, so I said Moses, history, Martin, history, and me. the us, the now. You open up the question. So where do we go now? Do we need to have another leader at this time to get us to a place where we can develop it's kind of a social consciousness about, yes, I am my brother's keeper, but I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure that during the time we've been talking here, some brother just killed some brother. There is some household where there is a lot of domestic violence. Now, I'm not saying that this doesn't happen outside the Black community, but I'm speaking directly about the Black community now, about the Black community. Where have we gone wrong to the place where we have turned on ourselves? Now, you talked about the children of Israel. Yeah, they turned on themselves. Either the group that went up to to spy out the land. The only two came back and say, "Hey, listen, it's possible." The others wanted to turn on them and stone them or whatever they want to do. So you're right. So where are we? Do we need another leader like that now, a central figure, or is it more dispersed where people can begin now to take responsibility for in a different way for their behavior and how they move forward?
Whew. So I mean, that'd be I'd like to hear what some of the people listening in would have to say about that. Me personally, I don't think that we need anybody spearheading, especially in this technology age. And everybody, there's so many different, especially with this internet, the social media platforms, we can all play our little part. And I've seen lots of people doing their parts. I've seen lots of people making posts or bringing awareness when they see injustices going on. So I believe that social media has played a big part, and that tool right there doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily make it necessary for individuals to us to elect, necessarily one leader. But like I said, we can all play our part to be able to get that message across. We do have one question here, and I'll put it up on the screen as well from one of your viewers.
Is it true that Dr. King designed the civil rights movement after Mahatma Gandhi's model, and how does it apply now? Well, I don't know if he designed it like that or whether or not it was a good model that he had in his head and maybe decided that somebody else is thinking like me. Now, the other thing about it is whether or not, and I thank you, Mike, for this, Mike Sales, for this question. Good question. Beautiful question. And whether he designed it like that or not, because the thing about, Mahatma Gandhi, okay, he was in a different society, like where the issues that we were dealing with here is not necessarily, there are some similarities, yes, but not necessarily replicated like that. And so he was looking for something that he was saying. Now remember, he was also a theologian. He would speak about God and how Jesus worked among people. And in the end, you see, all great leaders, these great leaders around the world, a lot of them lose their lives. Jesus laid it down, because he came to release us from the slavery of sin. So we're talking about some great slave people who were able and willing to give up that part of themselves for the freedom of humanity. So now I'm not sure, because I've never read that, to say that he modeled it after Gandhi. But if he did, then there is nothing wrong with taking something that is good and using it yourself. You know why? Because we all do it. Cars do it, electronics do it, houses do it, clothes do it, the shoes I'm wearing, the person whose shoes I'm wearing, they didn't design this thing. They just took that model from somebody else. So that's okay. That's okay but we got to be careful not to try to replicate every facet of it, because it won't necessarily work across society. So, all right. And so what we got to be careful to do is say, listen, we need to be able like boots on the streets. I was listening to something about Obama, coming out of Chicago. He and his wife, Southside. They did some great work, but the part of the reason why why they were so successful and still successful, they mixed and mingled with the people that they were trying to liberate. And he was a liberator, and his wife was, and they are still both liberators. But the quality of the bondage that they're in, what we're in right now, is not the same, because you're right. We have all these electronics. Now, can we become in bondage to our electronic devices to the point where we use it against each other, or we might use it to not care about each other? Because a lot of people, a lot of the new movers and the shakers, they're into, and I don't have a problem with prosperity, but they're talking about prosperity. I would like to see more of our people create a venue, create a model where we're taking people along with us. We're inviting them to come along with. Now, I know some of these people, they are really trying to educate people to get out of the bondage of dependency. And that's a good thing, but is it going to work for everybody? And I could answer the question to that is no. So how do we need to do things so it can work for everybody? Those who are literate in the electronic age, and those who are not so literate electronically.
So you're asking, how do you make the movement work for everybody?
Well, it may not work for everybody because it never has worked for everybody. But how can we maximize it so that we can almost adopt this thing about I am my brother's keeper?
Well, I think it comes down to mindset. Nowadays, I see that drama is thrived off of, the drama, that's what gets people going. I remember even when you were on the show, that when you first started on the show, that it was headed in a different direction. But then, once a little piece of drama got introduced, and it seemed like the show took a totally different direction, and people thrive off of that, So it's So we have in our community, I think we have as much a responsibility to help ourselves to progress and to move forward, as opposed to holding others accountable for us not moving forward as well. The drama I've seen, we relish in people, and I say I've looked at videos, it's no secret, we've seen pastors that have been talked about as of recent, you'll see, we've seen comedians, and so in all these different pockets of our community, we're putting our stuff out in the streets, and so I feel like in order for us to move forward, we gotta, handle some of that stuff,
Just bear with us for a moment, listeners. Michael's having a bit of a technical difficulty here. May even be weather related, because we're having this winter cold here, and it has the capacity to negatively impact a lot of the things that we would like to do, and even right now that we're doing. So just gotta bear with us here, but one of the things here is this, as he was talking, I'd like to know, so if we don't need another liberator right now, you're back, man.
Man, this night is not meant to be. It is not meant to be. The internet and the technical difficulties are just killing us right now.
But listen. But let me tell you this. See, that's a good segue though, because People who have a mission never allow small interruptions to interrupt their process and their progress towards goal. So we're saying, hey, listen, we got stuff to talk about, and it's very important. And we refuse to allow technology to stop us, because before technology at this level, there was another level of technology, which was, there were street corners, there was a town crier, there was all kind of people, and you got your stuff out. So we're back, man. We're good. We won't listen. We're not going to be defeated by this.
Man, the internet bug is getting us tonight. So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how the rest goes, though. I don't even know where I left off in the middle, but I think I was just talking about us having as much to do with moving our culture, our economy, our communities forward, as opposed to just trying to move past the barriers that are set up in front of us by others. And so I feel like there's a lot that we can do to be able to encourage and to set a different tone, as opposed to thriving off the drama. We need to thrive off of excellence, Black excellence, moving. And let me not get it twisted. There's a lot of that out there too. You see a lot of people being celebrated in our communities, and I commend, but I think we need more of that. As opposed to thriving off of that drama that's put out there.
Okay, so therefore, then since we're just rolling some things around in our heads, I thank you all for just being with us on the Shake Up. We're just having a good time here. I'm Dr. Kitten. This is a good friend of mine. I won't tell you who he is. He can tell you who he is.
We are not friends. This is my father. This is my dad. We are not friends. Trust me.
Mike, I told Michael some time ago, I said, Michael, we're not friends. I'm your dad. You're my son. He has not forgiven me for that.
Nah, nothing to forgive. Hey, it's true. I have kids of my own too, and I tell them all the time, hey, we're not. My responsibility is to be your father first, and then friends is a fringe benefit. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. But listen, Michael, let me ask you this, though. So there was the freedom from slavery way back, and there was a freedom from slavery, in this country. There was freedom from slavery in, different parts of the world too, So there was something specific that leaders or trailblazers was trying to release people from. Okay. But now it seemed to me that technology might have created a new kind of slavery, neo-slavery, which is negatively impacting people across the strata, and so, and even maybe even more so our children, the Black culture. So do you think that there is something that we might willingly have become slaves to? We have given up our rights to freedom and become slaves to these things, only to do what? To join the bandwagon of technology. And so because we do that, we miss out on other parts of our growth and our development. You think there is any one thing like that, or maybe 2 or 3 or 10 or 12?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I can think of different areas, and I'll just use my family as an example. So even today, we're in Alabama. We don't get snow here often, and it's snowing outside, and the kids, they want to, instead of going outside and experiencing that, they much rather be on the devices, on there. And so at some point in time, we just got to cut them off and be like, hey, go outside, go have some fun, or else you'll get stuck on your device and you'll miss out on the world, and you'll miss out on things, as this world is just going to pass us by. And then for me personally, and this is why I'm really passionate about this now, and it's being a slave to my job and not walking in my purpose because of what I hear other people. Now, you and I, we've had conversations before. So my background is engineering, and because I thought that was the direction that I should go in, now it's allowed me to be able to create a life for my family. But I don't believe that is my purpose. And so now I feel like, even in my current job situation, I feel like I am enslaved, and it makes it a little bit more difficult once you have a family to get out of that. And so, even in walking in this time now, I'm encouraging people and encouraging myself to make sure that you're doing, especially young kids that are in college, hey, make sure you figure out what it is you want to do. And it's all right to take some time out to not do it. Don't listen to everybody that's out there saying that, hey, you got to go get a 4-year degree. You got to go get your master's. You got to go get your doctorate. Yeah, that's for some people. But for you, a 2-year degree might be just fine. You might be able to be a beautician, a welder, an electrician. That is all great stuff as well. So you're talking about how social media, how it influences us, and can it keep us in bondage? Yes, I do feel like it could keep us in bondage because we see what other people are doing and we lock in on that is the only path to success, as opposed to what do I like doing? What do I feel? What are my dislikes, and how can I create a career path out of that? And so technology, like you said, Martin, he was delivering us out of more of a social type of enslavement. Moses, he delivered the children of Israel out of a more physical type enslavement. And now for us, we have to liberate ourselves from this social media and technology enslavement, because it can, while it can be used for good, it can definitely hold us back from accomplishing that which we should be doing.
Yeah, thanks for that. Listen to those of you that are listening. Just throw some questions or some suggestions in the chat, because this is a very important matter that we're talking about. We're talking about 3 different eras of slavery. We talked about Moses from way back in the time of the children of Israel down into Egypt. We talked about Dr. Martin Luther King in the 50s and the 60s. And we are now the beneficiaries of that. But to what degree have we benefited from that? And to what degree are we willing to share? And so now we are confronted with technology, and everybody's going down that road. As a matter of fact, you can't even go somewhere to buy some food. You got to pull out a card. Nobody want to do no cash. If you apply for something on that you want to get, you got to go online. First thing you got to do is do what? Create an account. You create an account, and so now you got to have a phone. You got to have all of these things, and so the way that society is going now, it is creating a new kind of dependency between individuals and the larger social system. The people who make decisions for us. I was reading the book, and it talked about these men who were chained in a cave from the time they were children, and they never knew it. They were chained. Their head was chained. Their legs were chained. They were just looking forward. They were looking at shadows on the wall, and they thought the shadows were the real thing, when the shadows were shadows of puppets. Now, puppets are not people. So we're talking about 3 times removed. We're talking about people, puppets, shadows. And so now we come down to, we are beginning to believe that the shadows are the real things. So how do we try to get to people, our young people, because the more our young people get involved in social media and technology, the less they begin to develop their capacity to communicate physically and socially and even interpersonally like this. It's all done electronically. Man, I now have an electronic signature. I don't have to worry about signing my signature anymore. So there's this, to me, there might be this degree of impersonalization with this. And so we're kind of caught up in that, man. This is your generation. You're raising them. I raised you, you're big and good now, but I got my grandchildren. So what you going to do to liberate them from that, Mike? It's on your generation now, man. Y'all don't want to listen to me.
So liberating our children, as you know, the best you can do is train up the child in the way they should go. Just do the best that you can. You pray about it, and you do the best that you can. I mean, technology is not a bad thing, and we tell our kids that all the time. Technology is a beautiful thing, man. I learn a lot. I learn a lot on social media. I learn a lot. I like to, I'm a do it yourself, or something breaks in the house, I like to go to YouTube, in my downtime, I might get caught up in thumbing just to let my brain go. But, what I have to realize and what I have to teach to the kids is that, that's not all it's not the end all be all, it's not the end all be all. And even with that, I can ask you a question, now that social media, how has your practice changed? I know you do a lot of family stuff. How has the issues changed? Have the issues changed on what you have seen now that technology is more prevalent nowadays as with family? Has it changed for you, and what you have to deal with on what families are bringing to you on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, and I like that question, but let me just start out by saying that the composition of families has changed a lot. From the nuclear family, a lot of single families. We have we have adoptive families. We have we have same-sex families and adopting children, and that so how do they become socialized and all this? And so these are some of the things that comes to me, and so we're not no longer talking about a mother and father family necessarily. We have a lot of those, but then we have a lot of other types of families that we're dealing with. The other thing that I deal with too is intercultural, culture, or intra, which is like us, but inter between people who are married from different cultures and different races. So now we have all of these things, and so the way that parents. So now you're asking the question about parenting here. You could be, the parenting style could be different, but when it comes down to how do I use, social media? Yeah, I have a, I have a social platform, and people can go on there, and I put some stuff out there. So it's a way for me to get my information out there. But when it comes down to it, even there is a difference in the dynamics of working with families or individuals or couples, on Zoom is a totally different, and it can be so far removed when we kind of sit down with them in person. The dynamics and the energy is so different. So while I can work with people in different parts of the country, different parts of the world, okay, it's different. It's not watered down by any means, but it's so different. So yeah, I have to, and I deal with it.
Yeah, I'm talking more of so you're asking me about what am I going to do for my generation?
Yeah, what you going to do for your generation?
So you're asking me that, and I said, hey, I do whatever I can do. But I'm asking from your standpoint, the issues that are being brought to you. Do you feel like technology is playing a part? Have you seen a change over the past 30 years in the issues that are brought to you from via families? And do you feel like technology has played a part in those issues that are being brought to you?
Okay. Over the years, there has been a difference in the type of issues that people are dealing with in families. Major at the core of that is the quality and the quantity of communication, different types of communication, because you may or may not want to believe this, but I had a couple who said that their communication network is so bad that they can stay on one side of a king bed and text the other person on the other side of the king bed. Now, to me, that's kind of I understand it because that's the way they do it. And I say, well, are you mad with each other? No, we ain't mad with each other. We just, we can just do our thing. Some people do it because they're mad with each other. Others do it just because that's what it is. They text from one room to another, and they do all these things. Yeah. They do. And so now, yeah, those things are now filtering into my office, and I so so now I'm talking to them, about what is it about the self, you know, where are you in terms of working on you or expecting other people to do the work so that you don't have to change, so that they make the changes. So it's kind of it's very different in a lot of cases. Yeah. So yeah, I'm seeing some of those things that's coming in, but on the good side though, the fact that, with social media, and technology, I can work with people wherever they are. Bad weather like today, I don't have to miss a beat. They don't have to come into my office. They don't have to fight with the traffic. They don't have to fight the weather condition. And so it's good. It's very good. But you're right when you say that, there are some drawbacks to it in terms of the interpersonal relationship and the development of the self and the risk that it takes in having face-to-face conversation, especially when like Moses said, "Who am I?" Moses didn't have a clue who he was. And so he asked the question. A lot of people don't have a clue who we are, because society defines who we are or put a picture of ourselves out there. We buy into that, but we miss going in front of the mirror and say, "Well, who are you?" We really miss that a lot. So it's just different. And the other thing is back in, I think it might have been the 70s, definitely the 80s, they had these things they called the latchkey kids, when parents were working and kids would go to school with the house key around their neck, like a lanyard. They go home and let themselves in. There was a certain degree of independence that those children had, but they didn't have the quality of social media that we have now to create distractions. Now kids, they don't need a key. Why? Because they got their cell phone. They can just punch in the code, and they're in. They can do whatever they want to do, to go home and to eat and to do whatever else they want to do. But this little thing we call the cell phone, man, this thing here, it is the key to the world now. It opens up a whole new world that I did not have. And I was kind of forced to go and, walk to my friend's house, and hang out, or go
uphill
to the park.
Both ways, huh?
Huh?
I said, walk to your friend's house, uphill both ways in the snow, barefoot.
Yeah. Well, you're old enough to know that sometimes what you had to do is walk to your friend's house.
Yeah.
And if we take it back a little bit, man, we could go to where we in like in an apartment building, they had one telephone, man. Yeah, people lined up, they had back to back to use this one phone, community phone. Now people got 2 or 3 phones. They got an Android, they got a Mac phone, they got all kinds of phones, So they got iPhones. They got 2 or 3 phones. I've seen people with 2 or 3 phones, man.
Yeah, you are old. There's no such thing as a Mac phone, man. There's an iPhone.
I was kind of searching for that.
I'm just messing with you. But listen. There's somebody on YouTube, Trey Ferg, and I wish we could have him on, because I have some clarification, but I'll put this up on the screen here. I'm assuming it's a gentleman. He's saying, I'm living in America. You only have 4 types of career path options: college, military, worker factory, or a company job, and entrepreneur. Men can't make decisions based on feelings, truth, and logic. So I'd like to hear, if you're still on, Trey, I'd like to see, what do you mean by men can't make decisions based on feelings? And then he goes on to say that technology is pushing the young black man further and further into financial submission, and don't make excuses, make changes. And so
that's a lot.
It's a lot. I agree with what he's saying here, but now the only thing that I would need clarification on, he says men can't make decisions based on feelings, truth, and logic. And so I would have to get some clarification on that.
He said feelings, period, and then truth and logic. Because
He said, so he's saying you got to use truth and logic. That is the only way. Truth and logic is from what I'm hearing here is what he's saying is that that's the only way for us to be able to operate in America. And if I'm reading that right, he's then what he's saying is, if I feel like I want to do something that I enjoy doing, that I love doing, that is not necessarily a path that I can that is always going to be open to everyone is what I think that he's saying. And like I said, he would have to clarify for us.
Maybe we need to get him on. Maybe we need to get him on, because
he does want to come on. All right.
He does?
Yeah. So let me you keep talking and let me see if I can get him the link and
okay.
And see if I can get him on here. But
because this whole thing about truth, so it's this old existential question. What is truth? How do we know what truth is? As a matter of fact, nobody on the planet really knows the value of one except for the value that we assign to one. Because one did not come with an inherent value of one. We just know that. And two did not come with an inherent value of two. It's what we assign to it. And by convention, we all believe. We go to school and they teach us. They say 1 + 1 is 2. Yes, miss. Yes, teacher. You can't say 1 + 1 is 11. Not when it's side by side, because it's not plus. It's just, it's just sitting there. But so when we talk about logic, well, logic is what makes sense. And now we're heading into the area of some level of philosophy. Now, just because it makes sense to one person, it doesn't mean that it's going to make sense to everybody else, because what makes sense comes from a person's experience, experiencing, a stimulus that comes into the brain from the outside. And then what we do when the stimulus comes into the brain, first thing we have to do is be aware of this stimulus. Then we have to accept the fact that something is coming in. Then we think about it. After we think about it, we have some feelings about what we think about the stimulus. And then the last thing we do is we act out our feelings. Mm-hmm. Act out our feelings. Let me tell you something. All of us could take a really good lesson from a good car salesman. A good car salesman will never sell you a car. And I'm going to leave it at that. I want people to think about it. A good car salesman will never sell you a car.
Why are you going to leave it at that? Why are you going to leave that up in the air? You want to
hear the rest of it?
I want to go. If I want a car, hey, I need somebody that's going to show me the features, that's going to show me what it can do, what it can't do. I need to know about the gas mileage. I need to know about all of that stuff.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. He's not going to sell. A good car salesman will never waste their time trying to sell you a car, because if they do that, then he's likely to get pushback. What a good car salesman will do. So we're talking about feelings, and logic. He will tell you, like you said, all the features of the car. Mm-hmm. And one of the things he's going to say is, man, because I remember I went to buy a car. I know I didn't go to buy a car. I just went because I had some time to kill. So I went to this place, this dealership. Went in, I was just walking around. This guy came sailing down me, running down. Oh, man, how you doing? They're real nice like that. Well, genuinely. And so he said, well, yeah, what you here for? Looking for a car? I said, no, I'm not looking for a car. So I'm just looking around. He said, well, let me just walk with you while you're here. I decided I'm going to go walk with this guy. He came to decide walk. He said, out of all the cars on the lot, which one would you like? Which one, if you're going to buy a car, which one would you buy? So I said, man, that one over there. I grew up on muscle car. I like that muscle car over there. So he said, okay, well, let me go get the keys. So he went and got the keys. Mm-hmm. And got the keys, right? And he came down, he opened it up, brand new car. The first thing he said to me, can you smell that new leather? I said, oh, that new leather smells good. He's not trying to sell me a car. He's not. And then, really quick, then he went down, we cut on the, he said, well, just sit on the inside. Nice move. He's not trying to sell me a car. And then he said, here's the key. Why don't you cut the stereo on? cut the stereo on, and all the seats reclining, the leather. He told me all of those wonderful things. And then he went to, then he went to the trunk, and he opened up the trunk, and the last thing he showed me was what? What's under the hood. By that time, he is not trying to sell me a car. What he's trying to do is to convert me so when he said to me, how would you feel driving a car like this? That's his trump card right there. I mean, not Trump, but
that's his hook.
That's his hook. That's his hook.
That's his hook.
Why? Because he's not trying to sell me a car. He's trying to get me to buy a car.
So he's trying to sell you. Well, he's trying to sell you an experience.
No. He's telling me everything about the car that he knows that I like. So now once I hook into that, he is no longer trying to sell me a car, because the momentum is now on my side to buy the car, because everything that he's telling me is that I wanted to. So he's going to leave it up to me now. You're going to buy this car, and he's going to continue to pursue the road towards trying to get me to satisfy my emotions. That's how good salespeople sell you things. That they let you get to where you listen, man. I just can't go home without this car. He's done his job. He ain't trying to. He don't have to sell you a car. He got to get you to where you make a decision. So yeah, logic is not always where it's at, because logic makes sense. Okay, but we buy things out of emotions. You have 12 shoes, 30 shoes, all this kind of stuff, other stuff.
All right, so we're gonna Mr. Trey. I think he's in the house. I see him here, so I'm about to bring him on screen. He said I'd like to hear this clarification. We're gonna bring him on.
Come on, Mr. Trey. Oh, Mr. Trey, how you doing, sir?
Y'all can't hear me, can you?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you. And let me just say, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for being willing to come on at a very short notice too. You put your position out there, and we just want to love to hear, because I think you got something that we all can learn from, man. And this is exciting. Go right ahead. Hey, listen,
man. And his background is way better than ours. I think we need to get some lessons from him.
Listen, man. We're not here to talk about backgrounds, man. We're here to talk about logic.
All right, I'm gonna put this comment back up. All right, Trey, and I'll let you go ahead and speak to it.
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so I'm gonna attack the first part, and then I'm gonna go into the bottom.
Hey, Trey, do you have any more volume you can put up there for us?
Let me.
If you don't, we'll take what you got.
Hold on. Is that better?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I say this because I graduated in high school in '86. And doctor, let me go back again. Let me just say it's a pleasure being here, because I understand your celebrityism a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because my wife do watch that show that you always on.
All right. Okay.
Working with difficult young men. And
Yes.
So I've seen your work in the battleground, so I respect that.
All right. Yeah.
Graduating in high school in '86. Father worked for Louisville Slugger, mother worked for GE. Certain things I couldn't benefit from because I had two parents that were homeowners and married, and I didn't get the benefit of I call it a benefit, but some things my friends were allotted to, I couldn't get because I didn't qualify. I was overqualified just based off my parents' dynamic. Great. Graduated high school. Options were at that time, go to college. Trade was sort of put out there for those who that sort of lived in the public housing. They pushed a lot of that trade. So you had those two options coming out of high school in 1986. Go to college, join the military, get a trade. Boom. A lot of people capitalized off the trade. Some brothers went to the military. College enrollment exploded when the Huxtables came out. Everybody I know went to college. And that was cool in the dynamic at that time. You could graduate, owe $4,000 or $5,000, if that. You pay it off in a couple of years. You're able to thrive. Most of those adults who took that route are thriving. Even the guys that took the skilled trade route, a lot of those guys were able to work now they're in their 50s looking at retirement, trying to find something else to do because they benefited from it. Then you got this new thing, entrepreneurship, which has come along since really taken off in the last 3 or 4 years because the military afforded me a free 1-year website design class from DeVry over 2022, 23. So I went to college out of high school. I went to military after I got out of college. After I left college. Then I went back, graduated 2001, Mississippi State. Then I just got another certificate of website design. So over that last 30 years of my adult life, there was a dynamic shift in our communities when the crack devastated that time. I started to look at it like feminism took the father out the home, crack took the mother out the home. A lot of those, and a lot of my adults now who are in between 30 and 40, they were kids when it was devastating the community. They saw uncles murder, fathers on drugs, mothers on drugs, big brothers, uncles murdered. A lot of brothers are still trying to recoup because they just now getting out of jail. Things are a lot different, still trying to play a lot of catch up. Now, you say how we have to live in our feelings. And I don't know, doctor, you're a little older than me. I don't think men could walk around trying to navigate through the cities of anywhere in America based off how they felt about something. They had to deal in the truth. We knew our true situation was, okay, it's a little dangerous for me to go to certain places. It's a little dangerous for me to be outside at night. That was truth. Now, as far as logic, like you said, we understand a lot more. So we claim we understand a lot more of what's going on in America, what's going on in our communities. We see it. People are talking about this from 6 in the morning to 3 o'clock in the morning on YouTube about what we see. Even though we can get a better understanding of that, the issue to me is that I'm looking at my 21 to 41-year-olds. They're the most unique population in any race because once you turn 21, you can go anywhere in the world. Can't nobody stop you from going here. Can't nobody stop you from going there. But we don't take that time as a young man, even young women, to really start exploring what we really want to do. A lot of times, I heard the brother mention he did something based off he thought that was the best thing at that time. But the unique thing about that is he gained a skill. Regardless of whatever he decides to do, he'll always be able to go back to that skill that's affording him to raise his family, keep himself out of trouble, not fall victim to a lot of what he may see in his community. I don't know where he lives. A lot of the stigmatisms that they try to place on us. The unique thing about it is not a lot of brothers are even giving themselves a chance to learn that at an early age, because now as you become I think, and this go by look sometimes, I think you're probably in your early to mid 30s. You're starting to see things differently. You're looking for a greater expoundment on what you are already a part of. The unique thing about it is you're in a great position because you can still do that, still maintain what you've already spent years learning and expound upon that. And then this time you got children, bring them into the fold from scratch, just like you. By the time they're 17, they're going to be able to take what you've given them and quadruple it. By the time they're 21, their world, they'll be talking about they're going to climb mountains. And you'll be like, why do you want to do that? Don't do that. That's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to get out and explore the world. We choose to stay in America, and everybody complains about what's going on in America. The world is going to change in America in the next 3 to 5 years. By the time this next president gets out of office, all of these wars will be over with. All of those people are coming to America. If you notice the shift in America, you see that they used to build 170,000 houses every year in America. They've only built 70,000 consistently over the last 3 years. So there's less housing. So that means the market's growing up. You don't see enough, brother. Well, if it's out there, I don't see it as large numbers. Taking advantage of the opportunity when Biden said you can go to school 2 years for free, enrollment didn't increase for Black men. When they say you can get a truck driving license for free, enrollment didn't increase for Black men. And the reason reason why I say this is an issue because those men that are 20, they're going to be 30. And if they're not putting themselves in a position, we in America, I'm only talking in America. If they don't put themselves in a position to learn those skills now, they're going to age out. They're not going to get anything of substance as they get older. They're not looking to hire old black men to get into these skilled trades. Doctor, you've been in your field probably 35 years.
40.
How many brothers give me a number of that you think brothers have ventured into that skilled trade since you been in there? Just
Well,
an
it's kind of hard because you know what I do, I do it the way I do it, but there are several other branches of counseling, psychology, and you know that other people are in. So I think there's a lot more in it. And one of the things, let me tell you something. One of the things these days, a lot of our brothers and our sisters now, and our sisters too, okay, they're getting like dual degrees, or they're certified in certain areas, so they can do a whole lot, you know, a whole lot more than when I first started out, man. You know, it was, you know, it was hard to get in. It was okay for me to get into predominantly black school, HBCU, but trying to get into a regular school or a white school, predominantly white school, it was tough. It was really, really hard, and I had to work to prove my salt just to be able to get through that. But let me tell you this though. Okay. If you really want to get ahead in life, okay, here's what you do. You need to embrace stress. Stress. Let me tell you, when I go to the gym, and I'm laying down trying to do some bench press, and that weight is coming down on me, that's stress. But every time I push it back up, I get stronger. Push it back up. And the weights, I'm going to get you started. I know you ain't. I'm pushing back. So when we embrace that, we don't always have to run away from those things. So what I'm saying here too is that you know, a lot of our black men, okay, and our women are doing a lot better now in terms of going to college. A lot of our black men, we need to get away from blaming the institution for our lethargy and where we are. We got enough up here to be able to do it. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to be able to win every war, because you can't win every war, you pick your fights. You understand what I'm saying here? And I'm not talking fist fights and guns fights. And you pick your fight up here, because when you want to get somewhere, you're driving down the street to get somewhere and you see detour. It doesn't stop you from getting where you want to go. You just have to find another way to get there. And I think that's a part of what we need to do as you know, as young men, you know, in America. So yeah. So you know, so Michael was wondering about that.
But no, that's what he was saying too. He said, "Don't make excuses,
right? Make
changes," which is what you're saying as well,
right? Yeah,
and it's pretty much the changes on your life. We've all can connect to a story of, man, my family was poor. Man, we had to get it out the mud. Man, this situation happened. We all can connect with that. The thing is, when you're faced at the time in your life where you get that fork in the road and you say, I want this for myself, and when I grow up, I want A, B, C, D, and E, F, G. Now, regardless of what you choose, there is a strategy to get to that point. There's a strategy.
And a cost. And sometimes the cost could be money and time. Sometimes it could just be money. Sometimes it could just be time. Right.
Now,
it can be anything, you know.
I look at that incubator period. For us as a brother, you really don't start living life and really until you about 18, 19. That's when life start really hitting you in the foot. Because now you have to move a certain way if you want to get to a certain level.
Or dress a certain way or talk a certain way.
See?
Or even live in a certain social you know, community, you know, yeah.
But even in living in those communities, you can still find a way to navigate through that based on the structure that's already there to get to the next level. It's some steps you can't dodge until you get some basics.
Do you
You
know?
went to
Do you know
school,
what?
brother. You got your certification, right?
Me?
No, I don't know this brother's name. What's your
Oh,
name?
you talking about? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have a degree in engineering. Yes, sir.
Well, okay, and this is where the feeling part come in, so I can just go ahead and finish that. Now, when you figured out what you wanted to do, did you talk to anybody?
Yes. So so I don't know if you know the gentleman over here or over there. That's my father.
Mhm.
So I did talk to him and my mom, and just to give you a little background, and I want to have you back on another week because we are running a little long, but I'll give you a little background. So they're both immigrants. They're both born on the island of Jamaica, and so their
Okay.
mindset coming to America was that a 4-year degree was the way to go. And so when they saw the interest in stuff that I displayed, they figured that, hey, this is the route that you should go. So from their standpoint, I feel like they felt like they were doing the best for me. But now that I've been in the career field for 17 years doing what I'm doing, I figured, man, I should have went to school to be and got my welding degree and my machine tool technology degree, and then went and done an apprenticeship in a shop and then opened up my own business. And I would have been happy as could be. But unless
Can I
you're
ask you, can I ask you a
unless you
question?
know, what were we saying?
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
You're an engineer, right?
Yes, sir.
Engineers are the most innovative people on the planet. You don't have to have a welding degree to weld.
You don't.
You don't. And now in these spaces, the technology, I mean, the schooling part of it is pretty much for free everywhere you go. That's the thing. You're an engineer. Engineers do everything under the bucket. I'm a construction engineer. I can do everything construction. Everything construction. But
You know
also
what?
have
You know,
secondary
since since you all are talking about engineers, let me just throw this in there. You know, when I graduated high school, I was never tracked for university, never, because I was an athlete, and they always pushed me to go out and do well outside. You know, they pushed me to do that. They were not interested in my brain, and so I grew up didn't even liking my brain, and even liking myself sometimes because I didn't do as well as others. So what I did is I went into engineering. I went into precision engineering, you know, and I don't mind telling you in the world that I even built parts for the prototype of the 747. Okay, now I did that because I was an engineer. In engineering, you know, and you know, my son Michael, he knows somebody will come and say, "Can you build me something so I can do this and this and this with it?" No blueprint, but we got the blueprint up here, right? So engineers, and he's a very innovative engineer. My son, yeah, he's an amazing engineer. Okay, but guess what? He probably got it from me. I'm just saying that. I'm just messing with y'all. But anyhow,
I mean,
yeah,
listen, brother, you're in such a unique place in your life right now.
yeah,
You have youth on your side.
Mhm.
And I have sons. My son will be 21. I tried to get him to, he wanted to play football. I said, hey, look, go to this school. Because again, Biden was giving 2-year degrees for free. You ain't had to cost nothing. Go get all of that prerequisites out of the way for zero cost. Get your grades up. Then if you want to transfer to a 4-year, go with minimal cost. He listened to some other people, went to Roosevelt University in Illinois, went for 1 semester with $13,000 already on his tag.
wow, ooh,
And I'm telling him, look, you're 20 years old, you'll be 21. Give yourself another 2 years. And if you find yourself still working at, where is he working at? FedEx. And that ain't moving nowhere. You have to, I'll say this. And this is, you couldn't tell me this coming out of high school. Look at joining the military for 3 years. Put yourself at the top of the echelon as far as America is concerned, because they're going to teach you how not to fail when you reach adversity. They're going to teach you everything about a skill set for no dollars. You don't spend anything. Now, everybody don't go to war. I went to the Gulf War. I didn't carry a weapon for 6 months. I was in the back, way, way, way in the back, eating good, getting the same benefits as dudes on the line. When I got out, my job transferred to the civilian world. They put me up in income brackets 4 and 5 times above everybody else who just went through that route. because they understood I had some form of discipline, I had some form of know-how, because the military is 95% of that shit is hands-on. Because there's a military welding school after basic training, you go straight into welding. You ain't got to take 15 more classes. You're going straight in. And look, even if you fail doing the practice, they're going to retest you till you get it. So once you get it, they're going to move you to the next phase, and you're going to be doing projects. You're like, damn, how they got me in here welding together a big-ass ship, and I just started last month. You're going to be, because it just puts you in that. Now, it ain't for everybody. But in America, again, you got college, trade school, military ain't nothing but trade school. You ever played football?
Yes.
Well, then you understand the coaches, you understand discipline. It's the same process, just a little longer day. That's it.
Right.
Paid twice a week. And this is for the young brand. You didn't already know. You just said, you at a pivotal point. So even if you want to learn welding, figure out all the avenues, because states offer free opportunities for that. Brothers just don't go into the details of understanding. Go talk to the state. Don't talk to other people. Or, yeah, man, I heard about this. Go talk to the state. They're going to give you a whole gamut of programs that you can enroll in, qualify for, get that certificate that you're looking for, and then you tell me if you want to weld once you weld in 85, 95 degrees with all your welding gear on, and you're sweating out your perm, and you're over hot passing out. You tell me if you want to be a welder or you want to
sweating till my naps straight now, right?
Yeah, tell me that. When your draw is sticking to the cheek at 5 o'clock. So tell me that, bro.
Listen, listen. No, don't go away. Don't go away. Listen, man. You're a very interesting guy. There's a lot of things that we can talk about. A lot of things that we can really, sit around and chop up and do whatever we want to do with. This young fella up there, he said he'd like to have you back.
Man, look. You know what look? I'm 55. I'm retired as of last year.
Okay.
I don't want
to come back though.
Yes, sir. Of course. First of all, just to be on here with you, of course. And knowing that that's your son, yes. Because brother, I'm gonna say this until you never see me again. You in the greatest opportunity in your life. Take your whole family and teach your whole family how to weld. Teach your whole family how to be an engineer. And I guarantee they're going to have more money than you in your pocket. Because they're going to get 50 years of knowledge without paying for it. And you're going to give it to them with love. So you're going to make sure they're successful. That's the unique part.
So I think so, Trey. So we're gonna. This ain't even my show, but I think we need to wind it down. But we're gonna have you back, and I'm gonna put this banner up so that you can know. So if you can send an email to drkidspeaks@gmail.com. Oh, you're on mute. You're mute.
I'm gonna put my email in the back chat.
Okay, yeah, in the private. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then I'll get with you. But so put it in the private chat, and then I'll be able to get with you. But what I was gonna say is there's a comment from a lady, and you were doing this, a lady named Michelle Lane on YouTube. And so we started out talking about, Moses delivering the children of Israel from Egypt. When we went to Martin Luther, for like helping us to overcome social injustices. And then now we're talking about where we're at now. How do we continue to move forward? And what you just did for me is something, and what she's saying here as well. She's saying, take back the narrative and hold each other more accountable for our own advancement. Stop making excuses and always trying. So stop trying and not enough doing. Men aren't taking enough accountability. So I appreciate Michelle putting that in the chat, because what that does is it allows us, you, Trey, and I hope that's your name, it allows you to speak to young men like me. It allows my dad to speak to men like me. It allows me to talk to my son, and allows me to talk to my friends. And it allows us to now hold each other accountability. That's one thing that my dad always instilled with me. He said, never say you're trying. You either do or you don't. He said, try is one of the worst words in the human language. Either you do or you don't. and either way, you have to back up what it is that you do. And so we want to have you back on. We're running about an hour and a half now, and I done took your show over, Dad. I apologize for that.
No, you don't. You don't apologize for nothing, man. Yeah.
But I had to let the people think that that I respected you on your show. I just can't not say that I don't. But yeah, definitely we're gonna reach back out to you, Trey, and get you back on.
Yeah, because
brother, what days are y'all trying to? What days are y'all trying to actually go live?
Mondays at 6 p.m. We go Mondays at 6 p.m. every week. That's
okay.
when we usually come
on. I feel honored, man. I ain't gonna lie. I'm telling you.
Monday 6 p.m. Central Time.
I don't know your father, but
yes,
I know what I've seen of him.
Yes, sir.
And he deals in truth. He deals in logic. And that's what I'm saying. The part I said about feelings is that feelings are like a roller coaster. I can talk to you now, you're feeling good. Some can trigger you when you get off, you're feeling another kind of way. When it comes to making decisions as it pertains to your family, even yourself, you have to step outside the feelings and always be prepared for the action. Sometimes you can get ahead of the action that you can't control. You always want to sort of have a plan for stuff you can't control. Stuff is going to happen, but you can't be, oh my God, what do I do? Why are they doing me like that? Why are they doing me like that? Some things are going to happen regardless of if it involves you or not.
All right.
But if you
listen, Trey. Listen, man. We're really gonna go now, but we're gonna have you back on. And guess what? When we do, we're gonna talk about different types and the functions of feelings.
Let's do it. Because I got a unique story, man.
It won't be everything that we're gonna talk about, because we're just gonna answer, speak to that again, and then we'll just do whatever we do. But I'm gonna, get this young fella on here back again because I think you and him can really trade some really good things and learn from each other. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about. So as I wind it down, Moses took the children of Israel out of Egypt. Martin Luther King helped us through the social injustices that we were going through. That kind of slavery. There is what I call the neo-slavery. There is a kind of a slavery that we are now willingly going into, turning ourselves into slaves. And to some degree, we can't stop it because society is so large that it is creating that listen, man, you can't even enter your car without a fob. You understand what I'm saying here? It makes you, and then to get the fob, it's going to cost you $300 if you lose the fob. So just little things like that. So we are now into, and the more fancy the car, the more we become enslaved by the car, just so that we can get the kind of car that we want and the pleasure we want out of it. Man, we got to get you back. We got to get you back. And when you do, tell all your friends that you're going to be on there.
I'm coming, man. Listen, man. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all, man, so much. Thank you.
All right, appreciate you.
Go in the back and, Michael will talk with you or get your stuff from you.
Come on, Michael, let's talk. I'll talk to you.
Sounds good. All right, then.
All right, now.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna go into the back room as well. I'm gonna let you close this out. Thanks for having me on today. And like you said, man, I'm glad that Trey was agreeable to come on. He really brought the show up to another level. So I appreciate him definitely coming on as well. Yeah. So I'm gonna go back and thanks again for having me on. And I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, they're right, man. You owe me a few dollars, because I'm gonna charge you for this. You ain't coming on for free. Okay, right. Talk to you later, man.
All right,
stay off the streets. Okay, listen. I thank those of you who hung in here with us while we got the show on the road, and there were some technical difficulties up front, but we dealt with that. So while we still have, just like follow, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to be a part of the show, just get in touch with my office, michael.thekidspeaks@gmail.com. And do you see how we just got that guy on here? We don't mind, we'll just grab you if you want to come on. And if you make a point and you want to come on and speak to that point that you made, man, we'll get you on here in a minute. And, you know, so that you can even be on the show without even planning to be on the show. Okay. So that's the way we're going to do it, because we can, and you know, I really thank him for that, because he brought some different ways of looking at things, and a different kind of energy to the show. And one of the things about me that they taught me a long time ago when I was going through school, especially when you're working with people, you've always got to be flexible. You've got to know yourself enough to be flexible without feeling threatened because somebody else wants to come on or pose a different view from yours. And so he came on, he had some really good stuff. He didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel threatened. We both, you know, nobody felt threatened. We had a good time. So in the future, you know, and I like that, I like to learn new things. So if that works, hey, listen, every now and then, you know, we'll do that. Somebody put a provocative piece of information on there, or ask a question like that we think is, a person could come on and talk about. We'll do that too. We will do that too. If it's way off course from a specific topic that we're on, you know, we'll say, listen, can you come back next week or whatever week it is, and we'll talk about that. So we, you know, so just know we're going to do whatever we can. Whatever we can do that. Okay. So thank you much for being online with us this night. Thank you. And listen, welcome to the Shake Up. This is the end of this Shake Up for today, and we will see you next week, same time, same person, and it's going to be 6 p.m. Central Time. All right. Have a good evening. Have a good day. Stay out the bad weather. Be well. Be safe. See you then. Bye-bye.